Good evening. You are listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Pinos Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida. I am in the Extreme Studios. I'm looking over some albums with the young Professor Pixel, who's that 20-something guy, also here from Central Florida. And he's like, what is this solid filth, this excrement, this brownish-looking piece of plastic? And I said, that's how we used to record things. It was called reel to reel. Then it made its way to albums, 45s and singles. And there was even a brief time, Pixel, I'm giving you a little bit of history because you're a kid here. A single was actually a thing back in the 80s, like if you want to record stuff. And then, of course, we've gotten CDs and DVDs. Why is this important? It's because the album I have is black. It's by the man in black, and that would be Johnny Cash. Because tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're continuing our coverage of Columbo, Season 3, Episode 7, Swan Song, starring, yes, you guessed it, Johnny Cash. And I'm going to tell you, I haven't seen this. This is a first watch for me. I know it is for you too, Pixel. And I think we've had some episodes in here that are just like, next. And some they're like, oh, that's so good. It's so smart. It's so intellectual. This one's actually a lot of fun, and it's enjoyable, and it's a pleasure to watch. It's very lighthearted, and just, if people weren't aware of Johnny Cash, he's just a likable guy, and that was one of the things that made him really big besides his music. And this is what you'd call classical country back in the day, not what this country pop stuff has turned into. So I really like this episode. We got, finally, some back and forth with Columbo, with somebody that really likes him but also has fun with him and takes a completely different approach, which I think really just makes the whole episode a joy. And Lupino does a great job of being the bitchy wife, kind of, so to speak. What's your initial take, sir?
Loved it. Oh my God, this is such a good episode. Watched it 2.5 times. Half times because I was exhausted and I fell asleep. But I watched it 2 times before that because this episode is fantastic. I saw the light. Absolutely, I did. But let's go ahead and start digging in. So if we want to go ahead and get started, we get to see Johnny Cash. He's playing a man named what is it? Something Brown, Tommy Brown, and he's putting on a show. We get to see his performance. There's this older woman that's behind him in the choir and is staring daggers at him throughout the performance, trying to look happy, but in those eyes you see evil. We quickly get introduced to his wife, Edna, and this isn't a happy couple at all. Quick backstory: Tommy was in prison, but Edna found him, married him, and is using his talents so that way she can build a temple. The tabernacle. It's going to be great. $5 million for it. But Tommy isn't happy. He is miserable. And Edna has something on him. Turns out that this young blonde girl that's also in the choir, he was fooling around with her.
Stooping, sir.
Yes.
Plowing her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Going ahead and
letting her find her voice.
Robbing that cradle.
I don't know about that.
Well, she was 16. He's much older.
He's a rock star.
Still. And yeah, well, Edna went ahead and has this girl converted and convinced and ready to go ahead and spill the beans on the fact that, what is it, like 4 years ago that he was doing this with her, and now she's a grown adult, but they're still going to put it on Tommy if he tries to get away from her. So Tommy's like, well, I warned you, Edna. And Edna's like, well, you're not going to do a damn thing. Turns out,
she's a great manager, by the way, if you ignore the fact she's using him.
Yeah.
No, seriously, she's checking everything, like, oh, hey, you need somebody to step into place and and lord over, no pun intended, actually pun intended there, of the musician, because what do? They like to party, and that means women, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and that's just how it is. So we get where Johnny Cash is coming from, and so the one scene where he's getting ready to go back, and the one girl's like, "Kiss me, will you just give me a little kiss,
Kiss me,
please?"
Tommy,
And
kiss
he's
me.
like, "Yeah," and he's licking them lips, and then she's like staring at him like, "Oh, she's so good." Oh, it was such a that's nice. That's good television.
Uh,
That tells
it,
everything that's going on in a relationship without having to explain it. And then you realize, goes, wait a minute, is she like mommy? What is she? Is she manager? She just whatever? And you realize, oh, they're actually married. Ew. But then you think about it, she took him out of prison, so she's just basically an older groupie in a way. That's how I took it. She's not giving him a dime. She doesn't want him to drink. She doesn't want to do whatever. They almost seem to be religious, but at the time, $5 million to build this tabernacle or whatever, and he just wants like a car, and he wants the occasional nookie. I mean, that's not too much to ask for if she's taking 90% of the cut. What do you think?
I mean,
Come on. He's the golden goose. You don't kill it.
no, absolutely. And
This is the time the
as
golden
LK
goose
is pointing out,
killed the other person. Yes, correct,
Edna,
sir.
you can only push a man so far.
But
I
you can push women really, really far, especially when you drug them, because that's the setup of the kill. Take us into that, sir.
Oh my god! After last week and the disappointment that was that
really slow,
murder,
bump with a car. Yeah, that was
this was
horrible.
fantastic.
Loved
He
it.
flies his own plane. He flies his own plane, and so they're going ahead and they're flying to Los Angeles, and he's going to fly with Edna and whatever the blonde girl that basically is that he was fooling around with, whatever her name was, and because Edna keeps her real close, and so she's going to have Tommy fly him. Tommy has the only other note that I'm going to say is Edna's brother works for Tommy as well. And they go ahead and they specify like he works for Tommy. It's not working for Edna for Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
So he gives the brother the guitar. I want you to keep it on the seat right next to you. Don't want it flying with me. And so he goes ahead and he has it all set up. He has his navigator kit emptied. And inside, he has a makeshift harness and a parachute. And he goes ahead. Oh, here's some coffee. He turns it up so that way it's nice and chilly. And it's freezing in here. Here, have some hot coffee. This is the worst thing I ever tasted, but it'll do. They both drink it. They pass out. And he's like, okay, here we go. He hooks himself up. He throws himself out. And plane crashes. He lands, breaks a leg, but he's able to crawl over towards the site and make it look. He hides the parachute under a log, and he has to just not play dead, but
he's got to get from where he landed to where the plane landed was burning up to look like he was thrown from the wreck or be somewhat close to it. And he's got like a broken
it's
ankle.
So
or whatever
thrilling the entire time as he's like half crawling over there. It's fantastic. Oh my god. And the next thing we know, we get to see the crash site, and who gets to come but Columbo. Yeah, I'm going to pause there.
What I liked about this stuff is it didn't feel rushed. I know we've talked about how some of the episodes are around 75, 80 minutes, and the others like around 90, 95, I guess. And to me, again, with Johnny Cash, it's not till much later in the episode when he starts having interactions with a lot of people that he really just starts getting on you as far as really like being just likable, and the way he approaches Columbo. It's not like he's putting on an act. And we've talked about too also how there's the accidental deaths, and then there's the oops, you're dying. Well, I'll just let you die and just add to it kind of thing here. And then there's these premeditated ones. And to me, this one, I wanted to see where they were going to go with it because I'm glad she died. I'm glad she got it. That always makes us love the killer, but we know the killer's got to be a bad dude. But it's so hard to say, man, I don't like this guy. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. That's why Evil Jack Cassidy is just tremendous because no matter how despicable he is, I want to root for him. And I mean, for Johnny Cash to kind of go against type just to do this, I think is tremendous because he'd had a TV show. I think it was over at this point. And I think here is that, okay, he's still in the limelight. You still had Lawrence Welk. You still had Hee Haw, a bunch of other country type shows that are out there. Dukes of Hazzard would come on a little bit later in the 70s. So definitely classic country is really, really big and popular, especially when you're not in the suburbs. And I just liked it. It just felt good. I just thought, okay, this is not overly elaborate, but it's cool. He drugged them. We haven't seen that in a little bit. And I like the fact that drugging the women wasn't like, he took my favorite kill shot weapon, the green old fashioned rotary telephone, and smacked somebody in the head with it. Because that's always tremendous, and I always feel it every time. This was just here. Have some coffee. Well, I guess this slop doesn't taste so bad after all, especially with how cold it is. And the cutesy little girl that he had been banging, and she puts her head on mommy Sorrell's shoulder because they're really both blackmailing them because she's like, yeah, I'd hate to have her give a deposition, and she's like, yeah, I would, basically. And you're like, you little bitch, you're the backup singer. He followed you. He put you in there. Yeah, you knew what the score was despite your age, and now you both of them. So I was glad to see that he got rid of them. But the fact that he parachuted out with a less than ideal parachute, risking himself, I'm clapping right here. It's like I give you credit, sir, for taking some balls and doing something instead of being a coward and just breaking solely under Columbo's spell. This is a nice, different kind of setup, and it took so long for us to finally have an episode like this. Really, really liking it. When Columbo and him start meeting, I go, okay, immediately I've got the Columbo radar on. How soon is it going to be until Columbo goes, kind of knew it was you from the beginning? Because it's not always that way, right? And we've seen some episodes where Columbo has seen that early on. He's rarely gotten angry, but he's always basically professional, polite. He always gets people talking about themselves, egotistical and all that. And Johnny Cash, I'm not going to say he doesn't fall for it, but Johnny Cash is basically like, he plays the role of who he is truthfully. It's like he could have passed a liar's test here because it's just so damn good the way he does it. And I thought, man, this is really different than some of the episodes. Nobody's played it this way out. So it's very refreshing to me.
Yeah, yeah. You know what else is also nice? When we do go ahead and get to first see Columbo in this episode, and it's at the crash site, he's interacting with whatever his title is, but Pangborn. That's what it is. Roland Pangborn, the guy that's supposed to be investigating the crash, because anytime that
He was professional, and you know what?
absolutely.
This guy, I looked him up because of his voice. And we have another guy that had a really strong voice in here. And I thought, okay, we had a dopey guy, we had an outer space kind of.
Wait. Did you open a plane door and come parachuting out? Because you sound a little muffled.
Oh, no. I was just saying the guy's voice, the way he walked, I thought, I don't know who this guy is. But I was getting totally professional vibes from him. So I liked kind of the older guy that he was doing it, taking a look at stuff. And that's when Columbo finds the buckles and the seats and asks some questions. This guy that's talking to him is a legit actor. He's got an incredible pedigree. And again, the show's 50 years old. We're talking 2 generations ago. And this guy's, even older here next to Peter Falk, but guy was tremendous in it too. Great supporting actor in this role. Great tie as well.
Absolutely. It's nice to go ahead and see Columbo work with some real professionals, because when the guy first goes over, he's like, "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." He's like, "I'm with homicide, with LAPD, because the brother-in-law asked us to look into it, suspects foul play." And he starts noticing these little things, and that's the brilliance in this episode. throughout this episode, Columbo is going to just notice details, and he doesn't want to even. Like, he wishes that he didn't have to, like, point this out, but he has to. It's his job. After that, he finally goes to the funeral home to meet the brother, who's suspecting the foul play.
What did you think of his brother, the character?
I was disappointed after the scene that we get with him, because he pretty much says, "I got the police to figure out how you killed Edna," and that is the end of his character. We do not see him again.
It would have been pretty cool if he showed up again. I admit, the guy made great use of what time he had, didn't he?
Yes, absolutely. But instead, he's just gone. Did you like the little conversation Columbo had with the funeral director?
That's one of the guys that's been dopey and somebody, so it was supposed to be funny. I just, it was written well. I didn't care for it because some of the cutesy stuff with Columbo I don't like, and the whole thing when he's investigating with the FFA guy, I'm like, hey, this has got a nice little serious tone to it because it's a plane crash. This is new, and then the whole, hey guys, can we stay out of the shot sort of thing, the TV thing. That's just there to be there. I didn't care about that. But this was funny to me in a smart way because you knew it was coming, and the guy's like got the big old 10-gallon hat on, and he's talking to him, and he's not wrong. What he's saying, we know he's not wrong, just as a viewer. So it's not a spoiler or anything, right?
Yeah.
And Columbo's listening to him. He's like, sir, I have to go in there and talk to him. It has to be like professional. I can't have you go in there and doing all that. Do you understand that? And he's like, yes. He goes, if you promise me that you'll do that, well, you can come in. Are you okay with that? And it's like, yes. So the first thing he does when he goes in there, he just starts lighting up Johnny Cash, which that's important because it's not that it's funny so much, but we know where it's going. But that allows us to immediately kind of like Johnny Cash. And when they walk there and Columbo's eating and they're watching him, Johnny Cash, what do you do? If you got Johnny Cash, you're going to milk it. He's sitting there, he's playing his guitar, he's got all the ladies hanging out, he's renting this ultra uber expensive swinging seamless bachelor house. People are playing around there with the old Fender amps and stuff like that. I mean, this brings back days of my youth in the 70s, going to a lot of clubs and bands and stuff like that. And this is nice. This is how you showcase somebody that's a star. Since we don't have any stars today, you could never do this on television. They would have to play a guest role and, claim that they're an actor. But the thing about Johnny Cash here is this whole exchange setting up for what's going to happen for the rest of the episode. And we're almost halfway through the episode, believe it or not, time-wise. It's really, really good because he's got his guitar. He's the man in black. He's dressed in black. I'm loving the 70s kind of style. They go inside to talk or whatever. And, I'm a Fender guy myself. I grew up in a Fender household. I'm not knocking Les Pauls or Gibsons or whatever anybody else likes. I grew up in a musical family. So I'm looking at my Fender Strat, my Fender Acoustic, my Fender Amp. Not saying all the best, but I had Peavey and stuff like that. These are all names that have been around a long time. The thing is while they're talking, and I've told you this before, I like it when stuff is going on when it involves food or doing something while you're talking and having a conversation, and they have it. And Johnny Cash, bless his heart, just is so great with Columbo. Columbo starts to understand the situation a bit more, and he does. They do treat each other like adults. And what's interesting too, besides the fact that you got that horrible yellow shag carpeting, but the wonderful, looks like it's a fireplace where they're talking and all that. Columbo keeps looking for pencils as he explains to him certain things and plot elements that are going on. Johnny starts talking to him about, the guitar and some stuff with it, which will be important later on. But that's what you do. It's not ego. It's not ego at all. This is wonderful. We're halfway through, and there's no doubt in Columbo's mind that he doesn't know what the hell is going on yet. This is good. They're milking it and stringing it out, I think, and it's working for me.
Yeah, it's working for me too. Because of just how engaging they are together. When they're going ahead and speaking, we do get one little piece of traveling Columbo when he braves it and takes a flight over to where
Bakersfield.
Yeah, where they took off, and he meets the guy that Johnny Cash to talk to basically say, well, here, go ahead, take the car, enjoy yourself a little bit. And immediately was like, I counted the mileage. But the thing with that, the main driving point that'll push him through is the fact that there were like no papers at all in that navigator kit.
Okay, now it sounds silly, but back in the day when you drive, you didn't have your phone that you could use as a driving thing. You didn't have satellite coverage you could get in your car on a 9-inch color screen right there in front of you, a flat screen. You had maps and everything else there too. And if you go to get a pilot's license, there's different levels of it. And so you get that based off instrumentation and also like engine, like single plane or single engine, double engine, whatever it is, and all that. Now, I don't know how much of that's changed. I imagine a lot of it's still, the same. You get the concept or whatever, but it's kind of cool that he's a professional because how does a guy who went to prison, who knows how to parachute and fly a plane, where might somebody acquire those skills, sir?
Well, that would be the Air Force.
Okay. But before we get talking about the airport, the next scene's one of the better ones in here. This is when I think
I said Air
Columbo.
Force.
Well, not that guy. That guy's a dope. That's one of the worst scenes. But it's when Columbo shows up at the house and Johnny's got, a young girl on the piano talking about making the arrangements and all that. He's grooming her. I mean, let's be honest. That's the word people would use today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he's like, I want you to make a big old list of some of the really, really nice things. And I'm like, but here's the thing. It's so seductive because you're not getting those ooey, creepy vibes from him, despite the age difference or whatever. And you go, oh, this is probably what he did before with the other one that he just whacked. But I'm like, I don't care. It's Johnny Cash. So I'm as guilty as everybody else for thinking this is acceptable. And Columbo's like, no, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting. It's like,
I'm interrupting something.
Yeah. This is good TV.
Yeah, he does end up going to. Where does he end up going? Where? Damn it! Sorry, my mind's fried. He goes to speak to the colonel. No.
Yeah, he speaks to the colonel after this exchange here. It's just, this is another scene where they're going back and forth, and like okay, it said in chat here that he really respects him, he really likes him. I'm not getting any sense at all while watching this that Johnny's basically gone, shit, he's on to me. I mean, he's answering, he's being honest, and Columbo's believing it. It's not like some of the people that we've seen before get irritated, go, what does that really matter, Columbo? Basically saying, oh, I'm getting nervous about something, and getting it. That's the beauty of it, and I really, really like that. It's only
there is one good bit in this last thing that we were talking about after the girl goes away. Mm-hmm. Columbo steps out of the room, and Johnny Cash gets a call. Tommy gets a call. He picks it up. Oh, yep. I told you we're going to go ahead and shut down the Tabernacle project, the temple. I'm going to go ahead. Mm-hmm. People are going to get paid, but we're halting production.
Yeah.
And
good for him.
Columbo's back in there, and he's like, "You overheard that, didn't you?" And he was like, "No, oh no, sir. But I did know that you weren't. You were halting production on the temple. I spoke to the architect this morning." And
yes.
There's that look in Johnny's eye, like, man, Columbo is already checking every nook and cranny. Because the devil's in those details.
One of the things about those kind of comments, and it's tough because we beat Columbo up with some episodes, especially with like reveals, like with contact lenses and stuff. We always is our go-to example, but it's letting us know that there's a lot of background work that he's doing because we don't want to watch that. That's boring shit. That's not cool for TV. I'm sure somebody could make it look cool at some point, but nobody's bothered trying because it's too easy to do other stuff. But in here, the fact that he says it, that's when, to your point, Johnny's like, oh, I gotta up my game here a little bit. So to me, you're absolutely right, but it does let us know as a viewer that Yeah, he did call somebody. He did get the phone records. All that boring stuff, which is the real detective work that has to get done. Okay, it is being done, and now this advances the story on, which then gets us to where he's talking to the colonel. Which I didn't like this. I didn't understand the whole thing of why the colonel is supposed to be talking really loud or whatever. I just this was my least favorite scene.
Yeah, no, it feels like a nothing scene. It's really just learning what we've already been told, that hey, he knows how to rig a parachute. There is the scene in the studio that follows, where Columbo's already ordered the bodies to be dug up and to go ahead and do an autopsy, and they found what was it?
Barbiturates was the fancy name in the 70s,
Yes,
sir.
that's the
Just like uppers and downers and quaaludes.
yes.
Old
Well,
terms that you've never heard because all your designer drugs today you think are the coolest things, and some of them are pretty strong actually. 'Cause
I
they're synthetic.
don't use any drugs, sir.
Your generation, sir, you own it.
Well, I will not.
You
Why
better
would I
represent,
own
sir.
this generation? So yes, they found barbiturates in their system, and a lot of barbiturates, because too much that it wouldn't be in any sleeping medication or air sickness medication.
Enough to kill a horse.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
And then the thing is, I almost thought Columbo was going to be thrown in the next scene, because he goes to the mission where there's this older lady talking about how much cloth they have for the white robes that they make for the choir.
Look, I love that scene. I'm being honest with you. I ate that shit up. I know some people think it's dopey and she's being stupid, but or like somebody, I think I read in somebody's comments. I don't know if it's on the Columbo File log, which I always recommend people to go check out. But somebody said the comment like, "Too much math in this scene for me." I'm like, no, that's pretty standard stuff. See, you youngins today aren't taught mathematics, so you would have picked out your phone to try to figure out what's going on instead of just doing it in your head. Going, wait a minute, something's wrong here because conservation of energy implies that if you need X amount of square footage to make a fully vested parachute, but you only have a certain percentage of that, what are the consequences of it? We get a nice nerdy description of all that. I'm like, thank you. Finally, they put something like that in one of these episodes. So I ate it up, sir.
I just it felt like, and I guess I might have just glazed over it.
You youngers do because it's math, it's numbers. Why would you pay attention?
It's true. I do hate math. Anyway, the next bit, Columbo does go ahead and show an example of stuffing it into. Oh well, it can fit into the navigator kit to Mr. Pangborn, but it couldn't fit a traditional harness. But a custom one is possible. And that's what it is. And you do have the scene with Johnny after this. He's very annoyed at this point with Columbo, but he still likes the guy. But he's utterly irritated that he's still poking around. And he says, "Oh well, it's gonna be something of a problem. I leave today." What? Yeah, no, I'm flying. I'm not going to be around for more than a few months. And Columbo is convinced that he's going to return back to the crash site to find the parachute, because it has to be there somewhere. And so we get this scene. He follows him into the airport, and he goes inside, and he's trying to hide out of view, but Johnny Cash sees him immediately. It's like, Columbo! Wow, I wanted to make sure that
he's driving to the airport, and I think it's a Cadillac. I'm like, man, these big rides, these cars in the 70s going in the 80s, you just don't see that anymore. Everything looks the same. All the colors are the same. They're boring. They're monotonous. The cop cars back in the day, they were more terrifying because they just looked evil with the black front and the white middle. It's like, oh, I got a black and white coming after me. Now they're all like undercover, like here in Central Florida on the I-4 corridor and I-95. They're all the state highway patrol guys are the same, but they're all like Ford Explorers and stuff like that, and Mustang. It's just not the same. So I'm always, when I'm watching these older shows, I'm looking in the parking lot at all the different cars and stuff like that. That's one thing that pops me now. As a kid, I wouldn't have paid 2 cents to, right? And you pay attention, but I do like it too, because you're right. Because he's like, "Come here, little buddy," like call him a little buddy. Man, oh man, yeah, he's working it. What does the camera focus on here though, as he's going through the non-TSA line there back when you could actually fly on planes, sir? What do you recall?
Well, he goes ahead. He has to take out like his wallet and his keys.
Yeah.
His keys. And he lays him down. Columbo sees, and he follows him and watches him get on the plane. We cut to night, back at the crash site, and who comes driving? But Tommy. He's back. He's looking, and he finds the parachute, and he's like, "Okay, here we go." And he's taking it back. The headlights come on. Columbo's there. He's been waiting there. He said, "Well, I gave you an hour and a half of flight for the flight there, the flight back, and you know how I knew you would come back? Because those keys have a tag. It's a rental. Now, why would a man take the keys to his rental car with him unless he was going to be returning?" And he doesn't put up a fight or anything. He knows he's got. Because he's caught red-handed. He's got it right there.
There's no bottle of wine to share.
No.
There's no love for your son, like we saw in a previous episode. But there's the Kasingle.
He does
people think my subconscious meandering, my James Joyce delivery early meant nothing, and it means everything here, because at the end, you're absolutely right. And one of the things here, setting up the scene, I want to throw into a different perspective, is that we've seen this a little bit more, or maybe I've just been more cognizant of it in the season, is that when he goes to meet him, while we see Johnny in the recording studio there going over the vocals and all that stuff, because, music and stuff, that was Boss Hogg there with the real funky 70s glasses there, the bald dude. He's the guy that would be on a Dukes of Hazzard a few years later. Yuck, yuck, yuck. And I actually know that's Cooter or whatever the hell. Cletus. I can't remember all their damn names, but you had Bo and Luke Duke, and you had the General Lee and all that stuff. And, of course, that stuff's all been canceled today, allegedly. So that he was like a guest star, but a small one at the time. The comment, though, was made in there about Columbo's wife. "Yeah, we were there, sir, at the show. We and something about, oh, my wife really loves you and all that." So when the one thing that probably got Columbo's brain working a little bit faster is the accumulation of things. But when he's leaving and they have the zoom in on the keys, to your point, Johnny makes that little statement about, "Well, tell your wife I said hello," or something like that. That's like a "fuck you, I'm going to fuck her brains out" kind of thing to get at you, or whatever. That's the only time he kind of slips to me. But here's the thing with Columbo. He doesn't have an answer necessarily, and he doesn't, except for the Deus Machina, wherever the hell the pronunciation of that is, where he's out there in the parking lot watching the plane fly off, and you're like, fuck, how can Columbo get him? Sometimes it's thin,
Yeah.
we know that. But the one cop standing there just goes to do the call there at the cop car there. That's the phone is behind a little enclosure there in the cop's parking spot where he needs a set of keys. So there's the crash zoom right into it to make you go, here, it's about keys. And like, I don't really know anything about rental keys at the time. So this was a little flimsy to me. It matches up with the time and all that. And
I don't know about that. He doesn't own a car. We get a whole bit about that at the beginning of the episode.
Right.
And rental keys, like, even now, they still do have that tag that's obvious.
I know.
And yeah, no, I can definitely see that.
So you're okay with
my
it?
grandfather, he worked for Dollar Rent-A-Car, and he loved telling about that. So that's what it triggered in my mind when they were talking about the rental car. I was like, Uh,
Yeah, it's oh, Air Force Commanders, the Choches. Oh, it is okay. Good call back there and all that too. Yeah, RDV's talking about all the car shows are gone. You know, RDV, I had been itching to get a sports car on the side for my main car and all that. And I've had like some Firebirds and stuff. I had a 70, like 172 and a few other Camaros and stuff like that. So I always thought, one day when I make it big, I'd like to get an older Ferrari, not the Ferraris, the kit car type stuff in the 80s that, were real popular because of Magnum PI. And then, we've got a Ferrari dealership I pass by, every day here in town in Orlando. And, I see some car shows, some classic ones. There's a lot of them around still. And somebody told me, hey, you can't go buy a brand new Ferrari. And I'm like, you mean I can't go drop 100, 200 grand on one if I had the money? And they're like, no, because you're not on the list, bro. And I'm like, what does that mean? Well, have you ever owned one? No. Well, so I guess Ferrari, what they do is they actually, if like say I bought an old used Ferrari, it's retained its value, right? Well, then my name goes into a database. So if I wanted to buy a newer one or one from a dealer, then they would allow me to purchase one from them because I've bought one before. And the reason why they do that is because the Ferrari market is so um, smaller than the average one. It caters to a certain group of people and all that. So it's not necessarily my thing, but it's to keep the name recognition and value higher with that stuff. I mentioned the Cadillac that he was driving there too. You can have him driving like in a Prius. I mean, but what car today would really, be the equivalent? You wouldn't, because most cars today don't have that kind of status. And it's just those things get lost over the years of television and movies because, almost everything looks the same. There's no divergent levels of high quality items, mid level and low level among different classes and ethnicities and all that you would see back in television. So pretty interesting to me that we get that crash in that all but tells Columbo, and then he looks at it, and then that's where he has the reveal. So yeah, kind of a hey, gosh darn it, you got me sort of thing. And he plays the single, I saw the light there. So if you don't know what that song was, you damn sure knew it by the end of this episode, and that's important because that's how you're supposed to do it, all in all. But I mean, for me, Pixel, this is one of the best episodes, one of the funnest ones in this season. I think for a lot of people, it's probably considered one of the most fun or joyful experiences watching it. And it is really damn good. It doesn't have the evilness of like Jack Cassidy did before, or some other things like Robert Culp brings a certain kind of intensity to it. But yeah, I can't really bitch about the ending too much. But
no, no. That ending, it wraps it up fine. Yeah, you talked about like when we got to like the halfway point. The pacing on this episode was fantastic. It looks good. It's written fantastically. I'm using that again. I love this episode. Love it. It has to be close to top 5, if not.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Like when they showed the plane, and I'm like, there's no way he's gonna parachute out of a fucking plane, and he did. I was like, this is it. That alone was like, okay, I'm aboard, but the rest of the episode is enough to back it up. It's great. Yes, and the director for this episode, you might know him as Coach from Cheers. Nicholas, what is it?
I will shock the people that are familiar with the 80s, being the 80s kids myself. I never watched an episode of Cheers in my life.
You never watched Cheers?
Or Remington Steele. No.
Watch Frasier?
God, no.
Oh
I was
my
busy watching like Miami Vice and other stuff.
I love Frasier.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Cheers is good too, but I'm more of a Frasier fan.
But I would have watched Murder, She Wrote, because that was interesting, and the writers created something. Yeah, detective shows. Look, I'll say this. We always talk about themes and relate to stuff that we've done before. You being the aughts guy, me being the 80s guy, RDV being the 90s guy. Detective shows obviously were staple going all the way back to the 50s with Dragnet and such. People liked professionals solving crimes. It's a professional, intellectual, heady pursuit. And then it kind of devolved into some of the stuff that RDV and I covered during the Dirty Harry series about progressive politics making their way into cities and governments, and that led to exploitation type films and revenge films like Death Wish and other things too. And we'll be talking about one here shortly, RDV and I, that came out in early 80s with the martial arts craze. But it's kind of interesting to see how history's developed, because again, the cars, the way people mentioned here in chat about how they see an older car, take a snapshot of it. I saw, and I coached tennis at a nearby park, and I had a private lesson on a Saturday morning, and there was an old car show going down one of the roads. There's an equestrian center going by a park up here, and there was a line of old cars driving single file going to wherever they were. And so I saw, like, your old Camaro, I saw your old Firebird, I saw your old Chevy SS or whatever, really nice muscle kind of cars, brand new, pristine condition, all done up and everything. But I saw one, I went, ooh, what is that? And it looked like, I don't know if it was a Rolls Royce, but it was like one of those older black cars that are kind of small when you get really close to them. And it must have been something from the 40s or 50s, and it was leading the road. I'm like, damn it. It's like I wanted to stop and take a picture of it, because, people, those collectors, really put the time and effort to it. And you could kind of, when you look in there, see that they had refurbished the leather, did all that. Oh, man, good stuff. One thing about Columbo, he always wears that damn jacket. Apparently, that's Peter Falk's own jacket. That's probably somewhere in a museum somewhere, or collectors got it. I think he wore it probably throughout all the series. And we'll see what happens when we start tackling the Columbo episodes in the 80s, 90s, and whatnot, until they stop making them. Because obviously, pretty much, he's obviously not somebody that dresses up. And why should he? We're not interested in looking at what he wears. We're interested in just everything around him and how the singular force of nature, the way he operates, does stuff. Yeah, I agree with you. Fun episode, one of the better ones. Obviously, we finish up with season 3 here. Once we have another episode to go, we'll do another week where we kind of rank all of the episodes here in season 3 too. But definitely, after the slow start, definitely some misses where I was getting frustrated. That season 3's more than made up for its lack of return that I was getting early on. I can say that this episode proves it.
Yeah. I mean, we hit one of the lowest of lows last week, and now we're at one of the highest of highs again. I am. Columbo's like a roller coaster ride.
Yeah. So my brother would watch Remington Steele, and even though I like Pierce Brosnan as he's aged, and I still love The World Is Not Enough, you and I, whenever we stop doing a season of television and switch to another season of television for a different show, we always interrupt it and do another James Bond film, because, you being 20-something need to watch them in order. And we're getting ready to go. We just started, actually, the first Pierce Brosnan one, GoldenEye, will be going into Tomorrow Never Dies the next time we do that. So that'll be coming up in a few weeks. So Pierce looks great in a suit. I thought he was a little wimpy, wussy-ass, kind of Britishy sounding dude. Of course, I know he's Irish. But in the 80s, I was like, I'd rather watch Hunter. Or I'd rather watch, my boy was The Equalizer, Edward Woodward, CBS late night. Oh man, that was the shit. And of course, Miami Vice. So why would I watch Remington Steele when I could be watching the other stuff? You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of where mine was at in the 80s. So not a knock on Remington. I probably would go back and watch it at some point too. But LK saying the next one's a banger as well. Favorite reveals. I don't know anything about it. I obviously we'll be covering that, and that'll be interesting to cover, and then do the review the week after. That'll be really, really good. Final thoughts, sir?
Fantastic episode. I saw the light indeed.
Yeah, very, very good. Swan Song. I almost thought it was the last episode of the season because of the title. But obviously I'm wrong, so we'll see how next week goes there too. Yeah, I do know that my boy from the Wild Wild West, Robert Conrad, I don't know if he's in season 4 or season 5, and some of the episodes collections aren't as long. Like this one, I think, is 8 episodes. The next one mine will be 6. That's fine. I'm totally okay with it. But when I do think of how Netflix does smaller episodes for a season, I always think, well, was Columbo one of the first shows to do that? I mean, it's
Well,
just
you know
so damn
why?
big.
You know why it's like this, right?
The what?
You know why Columbo is released? That was released how it was, right?
Well, because of TV movie of the week sort of thing. Yeah,
because it
I
was
get that.
the mystery
Yeah,
tour.
because
So
I don't know if you could handle reviewing 22 to 24 episodes weekly, and that would be one season of a TV show like The Equalizer or Miami Vice. Because boy, that's how it used to be, man.
yeah,
Remington Steele, I'm sure.
yeah.
Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Season 3, Episode 8. I don't even know the title of it. Don't care if LK loves it. I'm sure it's going to be a great one, too. I want to thank Rose and Johnny, Hey Yo, everybody else showing up here in chat, retweeting, letting everybody know that the stream is live and that it exists. But I know some people have been watching some older stuff. That's why I retweeted Chakma, and getting ready to jump on with RDB to talk about an early 80s female-centric karate, low-budget exploitation type film called Firecracker, which ought to be a lot of fun. So, guys, thank you for watching, listening. Good night now.
Good evening. Praise the Lord.
Stop it.